I feel alive.
You feel alive, you feel ready, and so do I. There we are, we're live. We're just checking. For anybody that's just joining us, it's Graham Coath with Ola and Lasse from my band of the week. Do you want to call yourself a band or a group, or because obviously in electronic music, it's maybe not seen to be the dumb thing to call yourself a band, a collective.
No, we are not a collective. Oh, in the beginning we were, I think.
Okay.
But now we are a band, I think we say.
We're a growing band in many ways. After
Okay.
Christmas, it feels like we've grown a bit.
Yeah.
And you're called the Climate Zombies. And where did that title come from? I mean, that must have a story.
I never done any music before, and I thought maybe I could do a song. So I made a song, and I called it We Are Climate Zombies. And then I put that out on the YouTube to see the reaction, and people liked it. So I thought maybe I should put it out on Spotify. So I opened an account, and then I was a little bit ashamed of, embarrassed if my people know I made some music. So I didn't want to call me Ola Stålebrink there. So I thought a name. The song is called Climate Zombies, and then I took the name as filled it in the band square there. So that's the way that the name was created.
But now Climate Zombies is a dim and distant thing in the past in terms of the song, is it? or does it still come back to get you?
Now we're up to almost 2 years next month here. And Lasse joined 4 months after I released that Climate Zombie song. And he's been in with me, and it's really helped a lot on the music making there. So
he actually tricked me in, because when he started this project, he went out and said, I'm bringing in different kinds of singers, and both female and male. And I think he knew that I was a very busy man, working 16, 18 hours a day. Yeah. So he called me, and he's a professional in delivering an opportunity.
Right.
So you can't say no.
You mean he lied to you?
So I was like you told before, I was like an Indian boy saying, oh yeah, okay, that's a good idea. And I didn't know anything because in my mind, Ola wasn't a songwriter, he was a DJ. Because when we grew up, he was DJing.
Yeah, that's right.
When we played, he was running around us and shouting and screaming and dancing and DJing.
Yeah, we went to the same school, so I know Lasse from the school, and I know he is a good singer, so that's why I called him. So.
Okay, we need to come in, but get a bit deeper into that. How did you know from school days that he was a good singer?
Yeah, he was in a band, and we have some theater stuff going on in the school also. And
I was going to say, did you do musicals in the school?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay, what musicals were you in?
Well, we had these Christmas. We had the Christmas carols and stuff like that, and then we did comedies, Swedish comedies.
Swedish comedies.
Yeah, we grew up. Our generation in Sweden, we were Monty Python fans. So
not a comfy chair.
Yeah, they were our idols. So we grew up with them, and we wanted to. I mean, they made music as well. Monty Python, they were great. Yeah. So we tried to be like them, and
it was a mix of sketches and of music acts, and we performed it for the other students, and then there was a dance after that. Always where they play.
It's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah,
it's absolutely fascinating because growing up in England, Monty Python. I always thought Monty Python was probably predominantly a very English thing.
Yeah.
but
We
it
love it.
it translated, and often our humor doesn't necessarily translate across the water, particularly, especially into America, where we have to rewrite everything. But Monty Python translated quite well with you then.
Yeah,
It absolutely did.
yeah. My son loves it too. He's only 14 years old now, and the brain surgery, or what's the department of silly walk styles, or what they call this. He looks at that.
Yeah,
So it's still alive.
that is amazing. What's your favorite Monty Python sketch then?
Oh, there are so many. Silly Walks is I mean, John Cleese is his body language. You can just enter a stage and you will find, well, you start laughing just by seeing him move. So Silly Walks is brilliant.
I like the sword scene.
Yeah, the sword scene.
Yeah,
When he
I'm gonna
cuts
bite
off,
you.
yeah.
I think for most people over here, it's probably the parrot sketch,
Yeah.
But it's so classical, so I didn't
which
want
is a classic. Yeah, or depending upon where you are in the country, especially if you're further up north, it may well be the Four Yorkshiremen sketch. I don't know whether you remember that one with the lick the road clean with tongue. Yeah, I think that's probably a favourite for anyone from that kind of thing, and it's just really epitomised that kind of era as well, where people told these kind of long tales of how much worse off they were than anybody else, and it's still very much an English type of thing. As you probably from speaking to anyone in England probably noticed, that we moan a lot about, especially about things like the weather.
But I think thanks to Monty Python, we have a whole generation of ironic humor. We have a lot of famous TV stars that we have one group called Killing Gänget, where they just they stole a lot of ideas.
They just adapted it.
So I think Sweden is very affected by the Monty Python humor, the irony, I mean, they were pretty harsh towards the British government, I think, in their humor, and irony is a good way to get away with a joke. I mean, you really mean what you're saying, but nobody knows that you're saying it.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, we are the kings of sarcasm in this country as well.
Yeah, and we love it.
You just don't know whether I'm being honest or not, do you? It's just something about the English voice that enables us to do that so well. Now, so both of you, before we went live, I mean, you're telling me about what it is that you do for a living as well, and I got to see around your palatial offices there, which were rather amazing. So one of you's in tech, and one of you's in teaching around transportation. Has any of your business kind of crept into your music? Is there an element of it which creeps into what you're doing musically as well?
In the beginning, when I started my company, we did some multimedia applications, and music was a part of that. And then I tried to do with some loop software and stuff like that. But today we do everything by ourselves. No loops.
No.
Arpeggios maximum.
Yeah. We're fighting with the arpeggios, trying to make them beat as we want them. But
sure,
we're creating more and more by ourselves. I think you could say that we're always talking about this, because I wasn't supposed to be in this, and he's a tricky guy, because when he invited me to do one song, just when I was finished and on my way out of the door, he just said, well, could you just stay for a few minutes, because I have another thing, you could just listen to it. And I don't know how many songs we've done now, but it's always the same thing. Well, while you're here, I have another thing, an idea. And the thing is that I think we're moving on a step. It feels like we're learning all the time. We're finding ways to cooperate So the process is it's it's longer and longer, you could say.
Yeah.
But it feels like we're learning so much, and we're trying to focus to make it sound good, so that it's feel good music.
So did you have dreams of being musicians when you were younger? Was that something you ever fantasized about, as in terms of a career? I'm going to be a musician later on in life. As it certainly was for me. I absolutely believed full pelt that at one stage, around the age of 14, I categorically believed that I was going to be in music probably for the rest of my life, which just didn't happen. But I did go along the steps. I got to being in a signed band at one stage, and I was involved in music in other areas, and I worked in radio. And coming full pelt back now, having been a COO of a tech business myself, I'm now doing a lot of interviews around music and meeting a lot of musicians. So I don't think music ever goes away. But was there ever that sort of hankering to be a pop star per se at a younger age?
I never had that dream, but I want people to love the music we do. And that's why I don't sing so much, because I'm not the front person. Lasse is more of that. So and he's a better singer also. So, but I would like to reach as many people as possible. But I feel no demand for being on the stage or like that. When you're a DJ, you play other people's music, and there's a lot of people in the clubs and in the discotheques.
Oh yes, I've done DJing as well. I just one quick question while we're on the DJing. Did you take up DJing initially because you were rubbish at dancing? Because I certainly did. It was always at the sort of time when me and everybody else that I knew was beginning to go clubbing and doing clubbing, and it was like, well, I so hate dancing in front of other people.
I love dancing.
Oh, well, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I love it, but I'm so bad at it that I just thought, if I hide behind the decks and just play music, then I don't actually have to join in with the dancing and show myself up. But you were quite good at dancing as well.
Yeah, I like that too.
He actually told me that they had a 70s disco the other night.
Yeah, at home.
Right.
The family.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing that you did.
He didn't film anything though.
No.
When you say 70s, so what sort of things were coming out of your record collection there in 70s?
Yeah, today you just what do you say? You Spotify search like disco, and then you get some playlists with this. And I saw Night Fever, Hot Stuff, Disco Inferno, and that stuff. Then and we started playing.
You don't have all of the old vinyl, and you don't clean it all off. And no, it's just.
Yeah, I have a vinyl also, but not so much disco. I started to buy my records in the 80s, so.
Right.
My first synth pop record I bought, it was just so with You and Me Both, and I still got it, and I still play it a lot.
Okay.
On vinyl.
And what about you, Leslie? What was your first sort of memories of buying music?
Well, if I go back to the first question, if I dreamt about becoming an artist, I think when we grew up, we were musically divided, because my favorites were Sweet, Status Quo, Kiss, ABBA, and between Kiss and ABBA, it's a giant step. So we were a split generation.
Oh, I don't know. They both wore quite glamorous outfits.
Yeah, they did. The clothing were no problem, but while they were. When they came up, there also came a lot of good British music behind there, like U2 and Simple Minds and those. So I I ate everything. I loved all the kind of music. So if I would have been a hard rocker, I might have become a musician, because then I would have been focused on one way. But since I wanted to take in all the kind of music. So when I was in the teenage age, when I was a teenager, we played a lot of different music. We wore synth clothing, but we played punk rock.
Oh, right.
And we played like reggae, but since we couldn't play the right way on the
you couldn't play on the upstroke. Yeah,
we had to find somebody that played as we did, and then we found the Selected and all those bands that played ska music. So then we dressed up in like mods, and we thought we were cool. We were just mixing everything. So we weren't focused on something. But when the 80s music, the Swedish 80s music, became viral, like the synthesizer music with the Swedish bands, then we got hooked up, and then we started the first band. And that kind of music that we're playing now flirts with that age, with the Swedish music.
Right.
But we're also mixing a lot of other stuff now, I think.
Okay. And the sort of bands that you're talking about then, so like the birth of Aha and bands like that, that sort of era, which were tremendous. And especially bands like Aha, you know, were the sort of beginning of not just a pure synth sound, per se. It's not all just bleeps and bips, which, you know, had kind of predecessed that before, but there was an element where there was a bit of guitar in there, and there was a bit of you know, there was a little bit more soul to it.
And a good singer.
And a good singer.
And a very good singer. Yeah, absolutely. So you practiced your Malkin Harkett high notes on a regular basis. Yeah,
everyone does. A couple of his songs when we had a meeting last time. What should we do now? And you played a lot of our.
I played. I played them.
As
an inspiration.
Yeah. Well, I think that there was a trend that started with certain sort of synth-based bands of looking for the singer and the singer making it. I mean, certainly Vince Clarke was always looking for the singer, you know, with Erasure, and before that Yazoo, and before that Depeche Mode. That there was, you know, he was a clever guy. You know, he is a clever guy. You know, looking for that really strong vocal, and quite often quite a soulful vocal on top of what is quite robotic in a way, to blend the two. Incidentally, I was just listening to Yazoo again the other day, where, there you go. I mean, were bands like that influential to you at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that it's a big inspiration. Yazoo, Simple Minds, Ultravox, Human League, Thousand Twins, New Order, Depeche Mode.
So the sort of bit of the new wave era into
Lasse is a little bit older than me, so
right.
Today
we won't get into ages, but
but when we were young and started listening to music a couple of years, it's a big difference when you are like 14 and he's 16. But today we shouldn't tell them how old we are.
Oh, it makes a huge difference. I mean, my personally, my sort of teenage years, everyone was listening to, well, Aha were there, but, you know, very much there was the fight between sort of Duran Duran and, you know, some people were into Wham and some people were into Culture Club, and, you know, there was all of those. And then there was a big fight between Nick Kershaw and Howard Jones. You were either a Howard Jones fan or you were a Nick Kershaw fan, because Nick Kershaw was a little bit more guitar. Howard Jones was very much synth based, and had the cockatoo hair. But it, you know, but I had an influence of, and I've said this in one of these programs before, I was hanging around with outside of my age group, I was hanging around with people that were 10 years older than me. Yeah. So I had all of that going on, but at the same time I had Deep Purple and Yes and Led Zeppelin and you know, as influences. So it was quite bombastic in terms of, you know, influences. Did you ever get into, you know, some of those areas as well in terms of listening to music? Sort of, you said you were into hard, you know, the punk rock, etc. What about you, Oliver? Did you ever sort of listen to more sort of rock based or sort of like traditional classic rock or blues based music as well?
It's depending on what your friends were listening to. One of my neighbors, he was into hard rock, and we played the Kiss and Electric Light Orchestra and Status Quo, and
but even that's very varied between the three of those, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
No, but I remember I went up to Stockholm, and my friend, he was into this, buying a lot of LPs. Yeah. He was always ahead of everyone, finding the good records. And he wasn't following me, but he phoned me, or he phoned my parents, and because I didn't have a mobile. And then my parents phoned the hotel I was staying in. So I was called down to the reception, and I think I was 17 or something. I was visiting relatives up there. And in the reception was a note. You have to buy Speak and Spell with Depeche Mode. Otherwise, I'll kill you. Because the only place you could buy those was in the big cities.
Yeah.
So when I drove home on the train, or went by the train, this was the most valuable thing I was carrying. This was the record. Oh. And when we listened to it, I took my bike and drove home to him. It was like a religious experience, hearing this sound from Speak and Spell.
Yeah. And do you think we've lost that a little bit these days? I think we have.
The magic isn't there. The magic has disappeared. It's like he said, we have to release a new song every third week or every month, because people, they disappear. Because if we don't deliver a new thing, we lose a lot of them. And then we talked about it yesterday when we said we have the faithful fans.
Yeah.
That they keep on listening to the music, but in order to find new listeners, you have to deliver all the time. I mean, this record, I think I bought this record 3 or 4 times, because I played it until it broke.
Yeah, you wore it out.
Yeah.
Music was. If you were at the discotheque, we were in Ibiza, and me and a friend, and we heard a song. What is this? We went up to the DJ, and then we spent 3 days looking for that record on Ibiza's record stores, because you can't get it anyway, an easier way. No. You had to fight for it and look for it.
Absolutely.
So today it's just to search and you have it.
I mean, it does still exist in some circles, not to the extent where it used to. That, you know, there are still independent record shops, etc. But for me, certainly, in my early 20s, for example, as well, when I was at university, record shops were a place to hang out, and they were a place to socialize as much as they were a record shop, you know. And I was so well known in my local record shop at the time up in Sunderland, that when I used to come in, because I was in a band at the time as well, and I was buying stuff left, right and center, you know, every time someone from the record shop would say, Graham, come here, you'll like this one.
Yeah.
And because they knew I would probably buy it, which was great. But you know, record shops used to play you stuff. They used to, you know, they would know their clients, and they would sort of put something on the record player for you to listen to, and you'd sit there going, "Oh my God!" You could sit there in a record shop. Yeah. So this is amazing, and you'd meet with other friends and have a chat in the record shop and be listening to new stuff. And streaming, to me, although I love streaming in some ways, because you can talk to a device and you can say, "Play me this," and it finds it. And although annoyingly, sometimes you have to get the words exactly right, otherwise it plays something else, and then you go screaming at it, which we had at this weekend. But you know, although you can just play something from nothing and pick a song out of air, which is great, the magic, as you say, of going and queuing and buying something, having saved up for ages to buy it, getting it home, and then sitting and listening with friends to an album. You know, I don't think there's anything more magical than that. And going through all of it as well. That's the other thing. It's the one thing that I want to try and get over to anyone that's younger, that's never done that and never experienced that, is it's a completely different experience to actually listen to a whole album, or to listen to a whole piece of work, rather than just, I'm just going to take this one song and, you know.
Yeah, if you paid $10 for that LP, then you have to listen on it, even if it wasn't any good.
But it never was. It was never bad, you know. I used to go and buy stuff that I didn't even know what it was. Because you know, I used to go for, like, you know, what are they selling off in the record shop? You know, I'll give that a try. Some of the best albums I've ever bought. Where, you know, those ones where you just thought, you just happened upon it. The cover looks good.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I know that person's on it. Well, this could be good, and you listen to it, and it just becomes an absolutely fantastic album. You know, you were prepared to dive into it a little bit. So, have you ever thought about, you know, doing a whole album? Is that on the cards at all, or is this as a project for you? Is single by single?
For the moment, it's single by single. We got the question from a guy who runs a record company to do something, but then COVID and this came, and it's changed the world. So we will see in the future. I would love to do a vinyl LP. That would be magic, to put it on and it's your own music playing from that. That would be great.
Yeah, I'd love to do that as well. I'd love to get the whole, in fact, this sounds a bit morbid, but I'd love to get the whole album ready. And then when you die, you can actually have yourself made into a record. And I'd like the only copy of that album to be that record. No one would ever play it. But I just think it'd be quite cool.
Well, I mean, are there actually companies that are making LPs?
Yeah.
So they're still alive.
Yeah, and I wrote to this company also that I wanted to do vinyl, but it seems like CD is more popular than vinyl. I don't know, but CD for me is not the thing. It's vinyl. That's the magic for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly over here, I don't know what it's like over there, but certainly over here, there's been a resurgence in everyone selling on vinyl. Even the supermarkets, you know, the grocery shops, if you like, that have the just the top 20 albums or whatever, a lot of them now have a section where they sell vinyl as well. It quite often isn't the same albums as in the top 20. It will be really sort of popular classic albums.
Yeah.
So it might be Dark Side of the Moon, or Rumours by Fleetwood Mac, or something like that. Classic albums. But yeah, vinyl's coming back, and so is tape. Believe it or not, so is cassette tape.
Hey,
Yeah,
I have a few. I can sell them.
Really?
Yeah. mixed with different kinds of music. One for New Year's Eve, one for Midsummer Party, mixtapes, one for that girl, and one for the other one.
Yeah. Well, we used to love. It was a symbol of one's love to somebody else, to spend hours making a mixtape for somebody else. Did you ever make mixtapes?
Of course.
Yeah, I made it too. I was a DJ also, and people asked me, "Can you do a mixtape for me?"
Yeah.
Okay. And what sort of things were on that mixtape? Give us a sort of like run through.
It was a lot of Italio disco in that time, like Scotch disco band, and mixed with Aha, Take on Me, and Sandra, Maria Magdalena, and
party music.
Yeah, and it should be a mix, so something for everybody. Not so much hard rock.
No, not.
Maybe you're in the army with Status Quo, or something like that. But, nothing harder than that.
I'm amazed Status Quo keeps coming back up. I mean, it's actually. Status Quo went through a period of having quite a hard time in the UK as being seen as sort of like a sort of granddad band, and sort of out on the reaches. And then they got a little. That album sort of brought them back into a little bit of credibility, really, for a while. But yeah, what's the one album or song that you would have loved to have played on, Ben? Deathly silence there for a second.
Yeah.
As the cogs go. Is there any kind of musical moment that you would have liked to have actually been part of?
I've actually done. I used to work with musicals on the, not professional level, but we did a lot of. I worked as a tour guide for a travel company abroad, and we were put together with a lot of professional musicians and stuff. So we made a lot of shows, and we made. I sang a lot of Simple Minds music.
Right.
And I found that my voice was a bit like Jim Kerr's, so it felt like I delivered. So I've been standing in front of 10,000 people, imagining to be Jim Kerr. So and that feeling is, it was great. It was great. It was a World Cup in Åre in Sweden, and we went out there and. So I got to sing Alive and Kicking and Promised You a Miracle and Don't You Forget About Me. And so I felt that how it would be to be a star. So I would choose one of Simple Minds' songs. They've made so much great music.
Yeah, really big songs. Really big songs.
They were the stage band for us. They were the ones filling the arenas in the beginning. Then came U2, of course, and then after that, Coldplay came, and so I think I would be on one of Simple Minds.
Yeah, very good. I must tell you, before the lockdown, I was on Simple Minds on third row in Malmö, and it was they played for one more day in Copenhagen, and then all was cancelled. So, and I've never seen Simple Minds before. So, what a luck! So it was quite nervous because they were talking about if it was supposed to be cancelled or not. And but it was really good, amazing. And I think you reminds me of it.
I think everybody's now got those memories of the last concert that they went to before COVID happened, and before, unfortunately, we couldn't do these things. Mine was Marillion Cardiff, the Christmas last Christmas, and it was magical, absolutely magical. It was one of the best concerts I've ever been to.
But how's it working in your country? Are the musicians locked in producing music, or are they creative doing other things, or how are they working? Because they can't go out and be seen.
Yeah, no. So that's interesting, isn't it? I mean, from the majority of musicians that I've spoken to around the world, I think this has been just a time when people have written music because there isn't much else one can do at this time other than write music. I think one of the great things has been that we've seen the technology is getting better and better. And whenever you'll know this, Ola, from being involved in a tech company as well, one of the great things about sort of human resourcefulness when we're pushed into a particular space where we are restricted in doing other things, that's where, you know, our creativeness in terms of coming out with new ideas and pushing things forward really happen. And we've seen some amazing tech things happen. We're going to continue to see some amazing tech things happen, I reckon, in the next 6 months or so. As you know, the same for developers. They can't go to a show anymore and you know, meet and greet people, etc. So they're sitting there just developing, and software companies are just getting on and, you know, improving what they're doing and getting it to integrate with more things. And we've seen some amazing music being produced where people are working from around the world and collaborating and sharing and producing these different things. So I think we'll continue to see that in the next.
Yeah, we see the old stars coming back, like Kylie Minogue made her new Magic or Disco, what's called her new record, and she done a lot by herself. I understood.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I watched because I hadn't had a chance to, but I watched one of the Jules Holland. You know Jules Holland, who does a lot of what I'm doing now. I watched the show that he did the other day with Paloma Faith, and Paloma has written her whole new album in lockdown, and she was saying this is the first time she's actually produced it all and engineered it all herself, and you know, and that's great because it suddenly, you know, it's a time, as much as anything, people have had a little bit more time because they haven't had these other things to do where they've learned or honed certain skills in other areas as well. I've known lots of people learn guitar or learn, you know, my eldest son, who couldn't play guitar at all, learned to play guitar in lockdown, #1 over here. So, and now he's got better equipment than me, which really rankles, but you know,
the competition in the future is going to be enormous.
Yeah.
I need a guitarist. Well, I've got 2,000 here and 5,000 over there.
Yeah. I think it's great. I mean, I think he's doing film at university and he wants to be a filmmaker. But you know, I've wholeheartedly encouraged him to take up the music side of things as well, because if you can, he'd already learnt to read music because he played trumpet. But if you've got an understanding of how to write music and you've got an understanding of, you know, how to put together songs as well, you know, as a filmmaker, that's great. Even if you're working with someone that's going to write a score for you or whatever, you've got more idea yourself of what you want.
Yeah.
You know, and therefore you can communicate that better. So I think all of those things are important. So for you, what's, you know, we're going to get out of this at some point.
Yeah.
I don't mean this interview or
no, you're talking about the corona, I hope.
But we will get out of that as well. But we will get out of COVID at some point. What are your ambitions going forward with your music project?
Yeah, it's we have set partly goals and we reached them all. I said I want about 10,000 listeners a month. That would be the next goal.
Okay.
I don't know if it's possible, but that would be some sort of measuring. I'm a mathematical person, and I program music. For me, it's math. So my goals are like numbers. So yeah.
Whereas Lassie's more the soul in here, isn't it? Is that right?
Yeah. Nobody.
It's the soft values.
It's fun because I told Ola the other day that when the first projects that he presented to me, then he had a clear vision of this is how I want the singing to turn out to be. So it was actually him singing, or his wife, or his daughter, or his son, and that was in one way was perfect, because then I had something to build on. Now when we're working, we put in a few chords, we make one basic with drums and bass, and then in my head, in my musical head, I can create 70 different kind of ways to move in. So that makes it harder, because when he presented the first time, it was easy for, well, okay, you want.
You had the template, you had the blueprint.
Yeah, it was like 80% done already.
And now that's why the process is more complicated, because we start with one thing. It's been so the last 3 songs that we want to do one thing, but it ends up to be something very different.
Sure. And lyrics, who does those?
Well, it's mostly Ola.
Yeah.
That it comes up with some crazy ideas.
Right.
And,
do you
he
ever,
always puts in
as
too
a
many
singer,
words.
do you ever, look at the lyrics and go, no?
Yeah, he always says, it's too many words in this line, he says. And then we also have this also. I never do a bridge, just verse and chorus. And he said, we need a bridge and what's calling? Do you say stick a part of the song that is a little bit different before the end? What do you call that?
No, verse, chorus, bridge all makes sense to me. Or middle eight.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, and he says we need that too. And I'm mathematical.
Yeah.
No,
I get the too many words though. I get the too many words.
And I say, you fix it.
Yeah.
I must breathe, he says.
I must breathe somewhere.
It's really difficult as a singer. I mean, I think sometimes as a singer, if there's a lot of words there, you can't breathe properly because you're constantly trying to get syllables out. But also there's nothing to necessarily sing.
No.
Yeah. Whereas to sing something, you sometimes just need space so that you can just move between notes in an area, as opposed to boom, 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 boom. There it is. I've got to get all of those words out in that space. So yeah, I get that. And what sort of themes? I mean, obviously, I've listened to some of your music. The themes seem quite varied. What sort of themes do you tend to go for?
Do you mean the subject or the music?
Yeah, the subject
style?
of the subject of the lyrics. Yeah. Yes,
sometimes it's our new song is called "Dangerous Dancing," and I'm just looking for.
What's that? Going outside anywhere at the moment is dangerous dancing, isn't it?
It's dangerous dancing.
Yeah. And then I sing something, and just for fun, and then it's like we have to have it in the song too, and then we write the text out from that subject. Or so
for example, you can mention one the song "The Cloud." I think we worked a lot with that, with the verses very much, because it's. I saw a picture on Facebook, and it was just before he presented his idea, and it was like the good old film Alien with Sigourney Weaver, with the alien, and this was the monster in the face, and it was
the face hugger.
The body was an iPhone, grabbing our faces. And we're sitting there with the iPhones, even though we're older. So this lyric was, I don't think he knew how good it was, but it was one word that he wanted to bring into the music that we didn't get in, and that was digital madness. We couldn't make it into the text, anywhere. So then we had to make a remix.
And we called it Digital Madness Mix.
Right. So
Yeah,
the
just to
digital
get in the
madness
word.
didn't exist anywhere in the song,
No.
but it exists in the mix
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
We had to put it somewhere.
Yeah. So, and sometimes we also get like when we start making a song, I think this one should be a little like Simple Minds that we made Forever and Ever, and it's the singing style that is a little bit like that. And we made the song Fool that was inspired by Depeche Mode. Just Can't Get Enough, but it turns out to be something else when we are done with it. So
yeah.
But
and do you write directly onto a computer, or do you use a keyboard and sort of lay down sort of chords and then?
Sometimes I play the chords on the guitar first.
Oh, right, on the guitar first.
Yeah, I'm no good guitar player, but I can a couple of chords there. And then I try to play them on the piano or on the keyboard. And then I run quantize. And then I move these little pieces in a way. That's my way of creating.
Very
Lasse is
mathematical.
more of a player, but we quantize his too.
Yeah, we have to. Otherwise, it doesn't fit with the rest.
It's a good function in the software.
Well, yeah.
You can. The difference between Ola and me is that when I want to create music, it must be a good sound, either on the microphone or the sound on the guitar, or a synthesizer or a bass that sounds good. And that creates the feeling when I'm playing. So at the moment, we're trying to mix this. So we keep his squareness of working because that's more effective. And I'm adding that it takes too much time now, because I want to do it more. Well, could we use that sound instead? I want to try more.
Yeah.
And I just want to do the chords and the drum pattern, and then it's okay. And then we write the song, and then we put in the complicated bass and the stuff after that. So
yeah. And I think that, different ways work, don't they?
Yeah.
Different ways work.
No, but we're learning by doing, and I think when I look at the papers with the songs here, we've done a lot of songs in a very short time. If you know that we're working hard, we're not meeting so much, and when it comes to singing, the singing for me, of course, in the ego way I'm thinking, we've never recorded so much the singing, because we do it one time or two times, and then okay, that sounds good. If we were professional singers, we would maybe let it rest for a couple of weeks and feel it in, and then we change that note there. But the singing, it's like a product that it's going to be finished as well.
It's another line in the or another track.
Yeah, he always says that, but you can sing one more time, can't you? But hey, sing exactly as the last time.
Yeah.
Sing exactly.
Okay, so there's your challenge for 2021, which is that you need to put out there a track which is a little bit more organic.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's you don't have to listen to me at all. I've just
Well, I think the friends we have around us, they're following us, and we have a lot of offers to play live, and that's also one thing we're wrestling with, because
I'm not a live person.
No, thank God for COVID, because it was a lockdown with live concerts. No, but that to present this music live, it needs to be with musicians.
Sure.
I don't think no one of us would stand on the stage.
Having said that, you know, maybe there's a sort of medium or sort of halfway house to go there, because actually certainly from the vocal point of view and sort of developing more of that organic sound in terms of the vocals, perhaps doing a session where you have the backing, if you like, and then you sing it live to a group and just then listen and record that and then listen back to what you do differently when you're singing it live and you're performing it as opposed to recording it, would be quite interesting, I think.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah,
we've done. Ola sent away to one of our friends that he's playing more like jazz music, and he made this acoustic version of the first song, "Love Until You Die." Well, not the first song, but the first we did. And it's so fun because they've used my singing. I didn't sing with the other guy. They just took the file and moved it into another area, and then it became acoustic version. And the same with this more disco Sinat.
Yeah, and it's exactly the same sing tracks. So listen to that, "Love Until You Die" unplugged. So it's acoustic, but and it's a slow version, and the usual version is a fast one, but it goes very good as a slow one too. And it's exactly the same thing.
And that's where I was going to finish today, if that's okay. Which was what should we listen to if we've got people coming to you for the first time? Where should they start? What should they listen to first? And where do they listen to that?
Yeah, I think "Coming Home," our latest single that we released before Christmas here, it has a nice vibe, and I think it's I like that song.
Yeah,
I think it's a good one.
I think it's always like this. The last one you're working on
is the best one.
It's the best one, and I mean this Dangerous Dancing. The first time I heard the idea, I didn't feel like it was going to be a good song just immediately, and I think we made 15, 20 different kind of versions. We could make an album with one song.
It's just the same song.
Ways. But I think we got the thing with when I'm singing, what he makes me sing is that he wants me to sing more on beat. And that makes it possible to move my singing file to another kind of rhythm or whatever, because I'm on the beat. I'm like a prisoner of beat.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling that I'm singing better on the other songs that we made last here now. So I'm feeling that my singing is becoming better, actually. So that's probably one thing, because that's why I like the last songs. But if you want me to choose one, I think I would choose maybe "Fool," or I really like "Among the Stars," because it's like a more soft song, and I think so. All the songs are good.
Well, there you go.
No.
Everyone now has a choice.
Yeah.
You can find all of these on Spotify. Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And YouTube too.
Brilliant. And what if people want to actually buy this stuff? Is there anywhere at the moment anyone can buy your music? Or
Bandcamp.
Brilliant.
iTunes.
Okay.
I didn't know what Bandcamp was almost. I heard of it, but it was a fan who said, "You must put it on Bandcamp so I can buy it."
Absolutely. Even I have stuff on Bandcamp. which is just there to make people laugh. But you can go and look it up. If you look up Graham Coath on Bandcamp, you will find it. It's electronic as well, so you might like it. I don't know. Or you can go, my goodness.
Send the link and we will check it out.
Yeah, or maybe not. But yeah, Bandcamp I think is a great platform, and I'd always push Bandcamp because it does actually support the artists. So, gentlemen, thanks for giving up your time today.
Thank you.
If you've been listening, I've been Graham Coath. This has been the Climate Zombies, and please do check out their music and support real music in 2021. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.